Hi, today we're in Madison, Illinois. We're on Route 66, or the bypass of Route 66, from Madison on the old Chain of Rocks Bridge over to St. Louis. Now we're passing over the new bridge from St. Louis to Illinois. There's our old bridge there. So a little ways up, there's another bridge here. And this bridge passes over the canal that they built in order to bypass all the rocks. Now on the Illinois side, we have Chain of Rocks Road, which is this road you want to head down to. Great little restaurants. They're open during our Route 66 days. Look at that. Wow. Incredible cafe, motel. Now at the beginning of the canal bridge from Illinois to St. Louis, make sure you stop here at this red light because it's a one-lane bridge. It used to be a two-lane bridge. We have a bike route over here now. So we're going the one way back to St. Louis, Missouri. Here's our canal right here. Look at that. That's to bypass the Chain of Rocks in the Mississippi. Now this stretch of road here is Route 66. This is on Chateau Island. This here was the 1929 bypass for Route 66. Not the original Route 66, which is down at MacArthur Bridge. This is much more common though, because it's easier to bypass the city of St. Louis. And here we are at the parking area. Right there. The old Chain of Rocks Bridge. Hi, today we're in Madison, Illinois. We're on Route 66 at the old Chain of Rocks Bridge. Look at that. Route 66. Check this out. Push a button. See what happens here. Yeah. Little Route 66 music. How about that? Here's a map from Chicago all the way down to where we are now in Madison. Chain of Rocks Bridge heads over to St. Louis. Here's the parking lot right here. And this is not the original Route 66 bridge of St. Louis. The original bridge is the MacArthur Bridge down the Mississippi. So this is a bypass bridge, opened in 1929. Wow, check out this bridge. This is absolutely crazy. Beautiful. This is on the National Register of Historic Places. It's 5,353 feet long. It's like more than a mile. It's 24 feet wide right here. So it's too narrow for today's cars. But back then, it was just fine. So this way is west and ends up at Riverview, what's called the Roman Road on the St. Louis side. And that's the Route 66 bypass through St. Louis. This is a Warren Truss Bridge. It was built in 1929. And the longest span of our trusses here is 700 feet. All right, so the original bridge is the MacArthur Bridge down the river a little bit, right by the arch, St. Louis. All right, so check this out. We got the Mississippi River right here. Wow. And way down this way, way out there, that's the St. Louis Arch. So we got the Mississippi River here going south. Up here is the north side, and this place is called the Chain of Rocks Bridge because this whole section of the Mississippi has this big ledge of rocks for like 17 miles. And it's the most difficult place to navigate in all Mississippi. That's why they call it the Chain of Rocks. So in the 40s and the 50s, on the other side of this little island here, we'll call it Chateau Island, the Army Corps of Engineers built that canal to bypass this whole area. And then we also have a couple of dams with locks on them. This one here, little dam right here, with little locks, and it helps build up the water in the Mississippi so it's a little deeper. easier to navigate. That's what this little thing right there, little dams. And this is it's called the new bridge over here. Wow, so this bridge was built in 1929. It's a bypass for the Route 66 MacArthur Bridge, of course, down in St. Louis, down this way. And then continued to operate as a bypass for quite some time. But it's pretty narrow here, and so they built this new bridge in 1966, and they closed the old bridge in 1970. How about that? And over here, these cool, interesting little castles in the Mississippi. I'll show you what they are. Right up here. All right, this guy right here. These are water intakes for the water treatment plant, which is right over here. Okay, these are built about 1880s, the oldest one. And the newer one, I think, was built in the early 1900s. So the treatment plant opened up in 1915, thereabouts. And it was the largest water treatment plant in the world. Look at that little castle right there. See that? That's our water intake. So anyway, they closed this bridge in 1970. Kind of abandoned it. It's too expensive to demolish, so they kind of just left it here. And became a site of a lot of nefarious activity and drugs and gangs and all sorts of bad stuff piled up here. Unfortunately, we had 2 sisters that were murdered up here. That was sad. But in 1981, this was the filming site for Kurt Russell, the escape from New York, when he's racing across the 16th Street Bridge to get out of Manhattan. He's actually filmed it on this bridge right here, the Chain of Rocks Bridge. How about that? Little movie star bridge. Today it's closed off to traffic. You know, it's only open for pedestrians and for walking, for your pleasant enjoyment out here. Let's take a better look at the little water intake castles here in the Mississippi. All right, it's like Cinderella lives in there. Check that out. Got a water intake right there, and then I'm not sure what the rest of this structure is for, but it looks pretty cool. Out in the middle of Mississippi, like, what are these things? Okay, there's a bend up here I'll tell you about on the bridge. All right, so over on the west side of the bridge by St. Louis, this is the infamous bend in the bridge. Right here, it's a 22-degree bend, and it heads from a little south to more northward. And you don't want bends in bridges because the cars would always crash. And there's only 2 bridges on Route 66 that have bends in them. This one and down at Devil's Elbow. We'll visit later on. So this one's closed, so Devil's Elbow is the only one that's still open. And the question is, how come we have this bend here instead of just going straight across? Well, there's 3 reasons. One is you need to avoid the water intakes here. Going straight across is going to be a problem. That's what they argued. All right. The other is the bedrock and the foundation down here in the ground. Look at that huge pile there holding this thing up. Wow. Anyway, they had to bend it because it wasn't strong enough. And the third reason is a private person who owned the property over here, and he kind of wanted Route 66 to go through his property eventually. And then he opened a big fairground out here and developed this area. He made a lot of money, so I kind of let you be the judge of that. Which one you think is the right reason to have this little bend here? Back here this way. See that? The cars coming down here at 60 miles an hour. 2 little jalopies or Model Ts or 49 Ford coming down here, right? they're gonna wipe out and crash. So that's a problem with turns on bridges. What else can I tell you about this place? It's a Warren Truss Bridge. We got that. Longest span is 700 feet. It was going to be demolished, but it cost too much. And now it's on the National Register of Historic Places. So to demolish this, you need like an act of Congress to do anything about it. Look at that. Just gorgeous looking bridge on this beautiful September 2nd. Hi, so we're at the end of our bridge. Look at that. This is the Missouri side. This thing more than a mile long, all the way down to Madison, Illinois. Now the bridge, I told you, opened up in 1929. In 1935, it was the Route 66 bypass through St. Louis, all the way till 1965. And that's when they opened out the new bridge way out here in 1966 to replace this as the bypass route on Route 66. So it served for 30 years as our little Route 66. It probably got more traffic, I'm guessing, than going through downtown. So this whole area here, they're developing it as a park here for the western entrance. Little celebration, probably for the Route 66 Centennial that's coming up in a couple of years. Plaque here telling all about the old Chain of Rocks Bridge. Wow. Anyway, there you go. So this place is pretty cool. When it gets all fixed up, this will be a nice park. But right now, you got to drive all the way over to Illinois and hop on the Madison side. So anyway, hope you liked that video. And I got lots more Route 66 for you. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.